Studio guest Dan Woodsky here of Beaver Brewing. How many years has it been since you opened Beaver Brewing in downtown Beaver Falls?
We are working. We just had our quinceañera this year, so we turned a whopping 15 years old. But yeah, this summer will be our 16th year. Yeah.
Now, for someone who's driven by and they never actually popped into Beaver Brewing, right there on the main street of Beaver Falls, kind of set the scene. What can they look forward to? What can they expect?
Well, good. The first thing you can expect is you can pick up your D&J pizza now, legendary Beaver Falls pizza that has reopened. So we're right beside that. And what you can expect, we make our own beer. That's one of the things, people walk in and they'll say, well, I usually drink this, I usually drink that. And it's like, well, we make it all right here. It's right below your feet. We make everything right on site. And we serve about 99% of our beer on site. Really don't distribute it. You're not going to go into Sheetz or Giant Eagle and see our stuff on the shelf. You're going it there. You're going for the on-tap beer there. And one of the things that we, have always tried to model it in the last 15 years is to make it a cool place to hang out. Not just focused solely on beer. We also do cocktails there. We have wine. Really focus on our cocktails as well, because if you're drinking something, we believe it should be good and it should be fun. That's the whole point of going out. You can sit at home and grab a 12-pack and drink it at home, and okay, that's fine, but you're going out to have a good time. So you want to have a good beer, have a good time, go out with friends or meet new friends. So very much have a Cheers-like atmosphere where you're comfortable talking to everybody. We don't have super dim lighting in there. We have it a little bit brighter than you normally expect in your bar, and that's to encourage conversation. We want people to sit down, have a drink, talk about whatever hot button or non-hot button issue that they want to talk about that day.
And you have pinball machines. You have anything from classic hip hop to rock on the radio. There's always a sports game on TV, and it is a very Cheers-like place. I would agree with that.
Yeah, just sit back, relax, and take it easy, and really always encourage conversation.
People aren't on their cell phones when they're at Beaver Brewing.
No, you're not allowed to be, actually.
Right.
If you're at the bar, we have a sign that says, you're not allowed to be using your cell phone there. This is a social experiment, going out and having a beer. I was just talking to people last Friday. They sat down and it was a couple, and they immediately pulled out their cell phones, and I was just like, don't you remember the times where you used to go out and talk to each other when you went out? That was really crazy, No. But it's really encouraging people just to hang out and have a good time and, have a good beer or a cocktail.
Bringing it back.
Yeah.
Beaver Brewing. Now, a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot, but there's a segment who they hear craft beer and they think, it's all IPAs. It's all like fuzzy, hazy IPAs. But you guys, you run the gamut. You do old styles. You do pilsners, lagers, porters. Talk about the importance of having a variety of beer styles.
Yeah. We usually have 12 to 15 different beers on tap, and at most we'll have 3 IPAs. Is that a lot what people drink? Yeah, but people drink a lot of stuff other than IPAs. That's one of the things. That's a good point. We do, brown ales, German styles, but we like to focus on weird styles that you might not have seen before, might not have tried before, maybe not even heard before. We do, in the spring, we'll do a Russian beer. It's called a kvass. It's under 1% of alcohol, which, a normal beer is around 4 to 5%. So it's even significantly less than that. And it's actually made from bread, lemons, and raisins. 1,000 years ago, when people would drink, especially, if you think of Russia, there's not too many streams, lakes. A lot of your water supply is coming from a pond. So they needed to treat that water. So they would get old bread, throw it in a jar, throw some lemons in there, throw some raisins in there, and a little bit of the sugar that's in that would convert from the wild yeast that's in the air. So you'd get a little bit of alcohol, but it would actually eat all the bacteria up too. So it'd clean the water, and you'd get kind of a refreshing drink. So we make that, and it's just one of those weird oddities. It's, getting back to that social aspect for it. It should be fun. You should be trying different stuff other than, we encourage people to be like, hey, if you just like pilsners, try this. You don't like dark beer? Here, we have this brown ale. It's kind of getting you close to it. So I always say, for people to say I don't like a style of beer, you probably just haven't had enough of that type of style, because there's a lot of variance in particular styles, IPAs, pilsners, all that they taste so wildly different that if you just had one, you might not like that one. But I guarantee if you had a couple other ones, if you're a beer drinker, you're going to find one that you do like.
And I know you're very big on locally sourced ingredients. At one point, you were using a if I remember correctly, basil in one of your beers. You were growing it in your own garden, and you've used berries from your own garden.
Yeah, really big on that. You know, it should be all the ingredients you should be getting. If you can get it local, you should be getting it local. And we do a basil beer every year. We do. Speaking of beers that you don't see every day, but are a little bit different. We use basil in an amber ale. And instead of using a bunch of hops in it, we use basil as the flavoring for it. So it gives it a little bit of bitterness, gives it a little bit of flavor, gives it a little bit of aroma. We've always tried that one. That's one of our more popular ones. We do that in summer, still have that right now. And using the local stuff, we have a cocktail party at the end of every summer. We do it like usually in like September, and we use nothing but local ingredients. We don't use anything that's grown outside of Beaver County to make the base for our cocktails, and we use all Pennsylvania-based spirits. So everything that we have in there, if you want to go in there and grab Jack Daniels, no, we don't have that, but we do have Wiggle Whiskey from Pittsburgh. We do have Bluebird Distilling from Philadelphia. We have Blue Coat Gin. We have some stuff from Burgettstown. We have, we try to go to the smaller places that, are just like us. I'm a big believer, and if you're not drinking or eating or whatever from small local places, well, then who is? So you've got to kind of do that yourself. So we've been doing that for years. But yeah, the local stuff. Fresh blueberries. We pick blackberries if we see them on the road. We'll make cocktails with those. Stuff like that. It has to be fun. It always tastes better.
Yep.
You never slice up that tomato in August, or not in August, in December that you get from the grocery store and say, "Man, this was so much better than I grew this summer." No one's ever said that. So you want to get that fresh stuff because it definitely makes a difference when you're talking about flavor.
Well, a week from today, and I'm going to hold this up for Facebook viewers, you can see what I'm holding. It will be a big line of people ready to get inside for your pecan pie or pecan pie, nut brown ale. You serve it one time a year, and it sells out that night. What is the popularity of and it's got a turkey on it. It's got pilgrims flying through the sky. It's a Thanksgiving Eve beer, the pecan pie and nut brown ale. What makes this so special?
You know what? It's getting back to that social aspect of it. It's the beer is good. We use real pecans. We use brown sugar. We use cinnamon. We use nutmeg, and it goes into a really rich malty brown ale. And it's really refreshing, easy to drink, and it tastes so good, kind of like cranberry sauce does around the holiday season. Again, it doesn't taste great on July 4th, but for Thanksgiving, cranberry sauce is pretty awesome. That's what this kind of is, too. It's the ultimate seasonal beer. One of the things that we did 15 years ago when we started making that beer is we're just kind of angry at, I remember getting a pumpkin beer on July 4th somewhere, and I was like, oh my God, this is too early. Or it was too late from last year, too early for that. I don't know, but it's not right. So the seasonal beer should be seasonal. Big believer in that. We figured the best way to do it is just to make it for one day. Here's a beer that kind of encompasses Thanksgiving, and it's a widely liked beer. It isn't bitter, it isn't super hoppy, it isn't super light. It's kind of right down the middle for everything, but it's got a lot of flavor and not a lot of alcohol in it. So it's one that you can consume a bunch, but we only have it for one day. We do it the day before Thanksgiving. We do it Thanksgiving Eve. We usually open around 3:30, and by 8 o'clock it is gone. Sometimes earlier than that. And that's kind of the whole thing, to come there, hang out with friends, make some new friends, and drink something that is in the moment.
When you hear Josh DeMaria or whoever your bartender is ring the bell, that's when you know you've run out.
That's when it's over. When you hear the groan from everybody that's sitting at the bar, that is when we are officially out of it for that year.
Joined by Dan Witzke from Beaver Brewing right there in downtown Beaver Falls. And I told the story earlier this week. I go back to the days where you were pouring beer out of a sort of a warehouse in Patterson Township, out of pretty much like a nozzle hose kind of situation into growlers for about a dozen of us who couldn't wait every week for your latest beer. So what did you see in the craft beer? I'm sure a lot of people thought, you're crazy. You're opening a brewery in Beaver Falls, but you saw a potential and it's proven right. Talk about those early days.
Yeah, we did kind of a test case in Patterson in a warehouse, more or less, and it was no sign there, no anything, and just kind of developed some things and said, are people at all interested in this. 15 years ago was kind of before, right at the infancy of the craft beer craze right there. I mean, when I opened, there was no breweries in Beaver County. There was only in the state, I think, like 120 or something like that. It wasn't very many. It exploded very quickly, but just saw that, this is, people want this. And on top of that, it sure beats sitting in an office all day. I've had a lot of bad jobs, and I was like, this probably wouldn't be terrible. Was hanging around with beer and people that are having a good time all the time. So it was kind of like that, but it really developed. And then bought building in Beaver Falls, wanted to be in the downtown area, and that was just kind of the perfect spot before it was right by D&G Pizza, which was awesome. They already had a base of people coming in there, so that kind of worked out nice synergistically. But it's been a fun ride and been able to see the kinds of ups and downs of the craft beer industry, but still hanging on and still plugging away down there.
And one of the reasons I think also you've been successful, how you've worked with neighboring restaurants and businesses. I can go into D&J Pizza, get a pizza, walk right over, sit down at your bar and have the pizza, or even like the local Thai restaurants.
Yeah,
the local, not so much the chains, but the local people putting up their money. You guys have a really good relationship.
Yeah, we always tell people we don't have a restaurant, but we do have food. There's enough great places to grab food in Beaver Falls that we always just encourage people, hey, grab something. And a lot of those places don't have liquor licenses. Like you were saying, Crazy Thai across the street, D&J Pizza is pretty much a 99.9% takeout. Nobody eating in at D&G Pizza is sitting in your car and eating the pizza there. So we encourage people, bring your stuff in, grab beer while you're doing it. Between at the end of town, Athens, to where we are at, Crazy Thai and everything in between, the Chicken Shack, all that stuff. It's like there's a lot of good food here, a lot of really good food there. And it's freshly made by people that have families that live in this community. So go get their stuff and bring it in, go make it a date night, go to a bunch of local small places and, support people that are doing good in the community. Those are the people that are donating to the local baseball team, the girls softball team, the school district, stuff like that. Those are the people that are donating to it. So go there, support that, and it'll support everything else around you.
Okay, when we come back from the break, we're going to talk a bit more about the craft beer industry, where it's at right now, and also about some other events that you're looking forward to at Beaver Brewing. So y'all stay right there.
What's everyone in Beaver County talking about? It's Beaver County Radio, brought to you exclusively by Fry Transportation. Beaver County Radio and Fry Transportation, a winning team in Beaver County.
Woke radical liberals are screwing up this country, but Congressman Guy Reschenthaler is fighting back. He backed one big, beautiful tax cut for working families, increasing the standard deduction for hard-working Americans, ending Social Security taxes for nearly all seniors, and taxes on tips and overtime gone. So call Congressman Guy Reschenthaler at 202-225-2065 and thank him for backing working family tax cuts and putting America first. Paid for by American Prosperity Alliance.
Patriot Home Care is now hiring caregivers. Are you a caring and compassionate individual looking for a reliable income with benefits? Then call Patriot Home Care today. Benefits include health insurance, life insurance, paid vacation after 1 year, and 1.5 times hourly pay for overtime plus holiday hours. Patriot Home Care employees provide personal care, conversation and companionship, medication reminders, light housekeeping and laundry, meal preparation, and errands. Start your career in home care today and call Patriot Home Care at 724-506-8911 or apply online at patriothomecare.org.
The best of Beaver County is easy to discover. It's right here on your radio. Tune in Beaver County Radio or watch the Best of Beaver County live on Facebook or YouTube video this and every Thursday from 11 to 11:30. The program is made possible by St. Barnabas. For over 3 years now, the show has been dedicated to shining light on the great things going on right here in your neighborhood and the people that are making it happen. This Thursday, enjoy conversation and insight from an intriguing lineup of guests who are creating excitement and having an impact right here in Beaver County. Your friends and neighbors at St. Barnabas are pleased to support the Best of Beaver County. The radio broadcast will also be replayed each week from 11:30 to noon on Sundays on Beaver County Radio. Archived Best of Beaver County videos can be viewed on the WBVP WMBA Facebook page. It's your chance to encounter the best of Beaver County with host Mike Romai this Thursday starting at 11. For more information, visit beavercountyradio.com.
St. Barnabas thanks you for listening to Beaver County Radio.
We are at 8:52 on this Wednesday morning. Scott Tatey here, joined by Dan Witzke owner, founder, creative genius of Beaver Brewing. The OG of craft breweries right there in downtown Beaver Falls. And we're talking beer, of course, but your cocktails. I follow you on Instagram, and I recommend people do. You're very creative there, too. And it seems like every month you're introducing a new cocktail, or you're experimenting, trying different things. What's popular for the fall season cocktail-wise?
A couple of things that we do. Bourbon is becoming very cool, especially for cocktails. A lot of people just aren't drinking straight bourbon anymore. They're doing it with something special. And one of the things that we did recently, I can't say invented it, stole the idea. I saw it. I think I perfected it, I'll say that. I add my own flair to it. Is Cinnamon Toast Crunch Old Fashioned. Old Fashioned is kind of the cool new drink. If you're getting into bourbon, it's a little bit sweeter. You usually add sugar to it. This one, we just literally get Cinnamon Toast Crunch, the cereal, pour a couple bottles of bourbon right over it, let it sit for 2 days, and boom, you've got Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Old Fashioned. We add a little bit of brown sugar to ours, just to add a little bit of a more rich sweetness to it that kind of pairs better with the bourbon. But holy cow, that is really popular. We did that. We have a bourbon club, and that's been probably our most popular cocktail that we've made. And for the Pecan Pie Day that we're having next Wednesday, we're going to do a maple pecan old fashioned, where we saved some of the syrup from the Beaver County Maple Syrup Festival. We're going to make a simple syrup with that, and also age it on pecans for a couple days. So get a little bit of that nuttiness, the kind of rich flavor from that maple syrup, paired together with, I think we're going to do with Wiggle Whiskey. We're going to try that, and we're going to pair that all together and make a really crazy, mapley, warming your body cocktail right there. But there's a lot of fun stuff you can do with unique ingredients to make unique cocktails.
I think my mouth is watering. Let me wipe that here. Beaver Brewing, and so it's not just a matter of you open your doors and you pour the same beers. There's a lot of education and learning. It seems like you're always studying new styles or old styles and trying to bring them back. Is that a fun part of the job? Yeah,
it is. And it's just seeing how people's taste buds develop over time. 15 years ago when somebody came in, they may have never had an IPA before. They may have never had a sour beer before. So you kind of had to almost educate people on, here's different things. There are things other than an American lager, So there was a little bit of an education. Fast forward 15 years till now, it's a lot more updated and people know what they want. They're like, oh, a brown ale, is it an English brown ale or an American brown ale? People are starting to get a lot more educated on it. So that's a good thing. So when people are getting more educated on it, we need to get more unique with what we're doing too. So we're always trying to kind of push different types of styles, different types of things that, people may have had somewhere else, or hopefully, introduce something new that they may never have had. But definitely people are a lot more educated on what they like now than they were 15 years ago, since breweries have been popping up and doing different things. And one of the things you said earlier when we were talking is, it's all IPAs. It's like, well, a lot of it is, but there's a lot of other cool different stuff you can do. Again, adding basil to beer, adding, we had just about every fruit there is imaginable, pears, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries. We've done everything with anything that we can get our hands on locally and thrown them into beer. Because that's how beer was made, hundreds of years ago. They were all using all local ingredients and using different things for flavor that weren't just hops. So it's not just all IPAs.
Even with IPAs, though, there's the hazy, there's the West Coast. So people their palates are even stretching out in the IPA world.
Oh yeah, and it's I've been seeing recently, and all the trade stuff that I read is people are kind of trending back to the traditional styles of beer, the American Pilsners. They're really enjoying that. Like a crisp, clean beer is kind of, I think people have kind of wrecked their palates over the years with super bitter, super hoppy stuff. Super sour stuff. That kind of was a craze a couple of years ago where everything was sour. And it's really going back to the basics. I want a English mild. I want a Pilsner. I want that. So we sell, our number one selling beer that we have every month of the year, every weekend that we are open, is our blueberry ale. We make it with real blueberries, and that's our most popular thing. People always say, it's got to be an IPA. It never is. It's a blueberry beer. It's just we make it a little bit different every time, but it's pretty much just like a blueberry lager with, pureed blueberry in it, so it actually tastes like a real blueberry and not a blueberry Jolly Rancher. That's kind of the goal. Use the real stuff and not the flavoring when you can.
I remember you were out of the gate with a chamomile wheat, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, chamomile was one of those things that has been used, for thousands of years of people just drinking it for medicinal purposes, and it actually tastes really good too. But it has a subtle flavor. But a unique flavor. Usually when you're drinking something that's chamomile, you know that it's chamomile. It doesn't push you over with flavor. So it's a nice thing to add to beer so it doesn't overwhelm the other stuff that we have in the beer. It was in a Hefeweizen, so you get kind of that yeasty, clovery thing from a Hefeweizen. You just add that chamomile to it and just gave it a nice kind of crisp, clean, almost a little bit of sweetness, even though there's no sweetness in chamomile, just a little bit of more of a floral beer. So always trying weird, different stuff like that. Throw it against the wall. Since we're not huge, we're not Anheuser-Busch, we can make stuff that's weird that other people aren't going to make. And if it's not the most popular thing in the world, it's not a big deal because we don't have 10 million gallons of it staring at us saying, oh my God, what are we going to do with all this pumpkin beer? We don't do that. So we have small batches so we can experiment and do a whole bunch of weird, different stuff.
All right. That's why you call it a nano brewery, not even a microbrewery.
Yeah, super small.
I noticed that. All right. When Dan, in the 70 seconds left, we got here one more time. Let's talk about Beaver Brewing and the event a week from today.
Yeah, Pecan Pie Day, man. It is, if you are a beer drinker, this is the event for you. It is super cool. We have this beer, and we only have it for one day. And that was kind of the thing that we always say. Like, no, if you come in the next day, if you come in Friday when we're open, no, it's not there. It's not going to be there probably at 10 o'clock at night if you make a late trip in. It is only there for a brief period, and that's what makes it exciting. It is limited, and there's a whole bunch of people there that just want to have a good time and hang out before all the madness, before Uncle Bob says something uncomfortable at the dinner table on, Thanksgiving. You can relax and hang out before then, before you get to that madness of Thanksgiving Day.
Well said, Dan. All right, thank you so much. Keep up the great work. Beaver Brewing. What is the address on 7th Street?
1820 7th Avenue, right by D&J Pizza.
Get yourself a slice, get yourself a beer. You will have it. All right. I appreciate you spending time with us.
Thank you, Scott.